You can see I've hung the matchsticks like this. One of them is on a paper supported from above on both glasses. One of them is I've dug them into the paper. Now hopefully it'll be able to flash from bottom to top. Let's see. Can't see. I'll do this. Look over. Yeah, here we go. You can see kind of both sides. Now let's hope this doesn't tip. Go ahead. Well, you saw that experiment I called the flaming house, wasn't it? I thought because I sat there thinking because I wanted to make a video on something about how fire moves, and I thought, well, if the paper burns up, will the fire go upwards and light the other paper on top of it? But I thought no, fire extinguishes pretty quickly like this, as you saw most of the time. But the paper did it spreads in the fire. It's spread outwards as you can very well see from the beginning. You look at the first scene in that experiment, it was barely anything, but in the middle it was somewhere over here, and just before the end of the catastrophe, you could see it had almost reached the end. You know, after the first one flamed out, if you look at it, it wasn't that much fire and it couldn't go up. But then, as you saw in my video, my idea was I'd stick two kind of fresh matchsticks down and two fresh matchsticks up from the bottom and top. That way, I thought I'll chuck one matchstick on the paper and the fire will spread outwards, and then matchstick 1 and 2 will catch fire at the same time. And when they explode, then the upper ones will explode too. And I decided to throw in an extra matchstick on top to explode too. 5 explosions at once. Good thing that didn't happen, because you saw what happened with 3 explosions at once, didn't you? The end situation. I'll explain that. Well, so what happened is, you saw it. I threw it down. The first one, it went up and kind of boom, boom. I hadn't put down the 5th matchstick, and that kind of just burnt out the top, but the paper didn't burn up that much. And then, when I finally burnt the 2nd matchstick, because I chucked down a fresh matchstick on top just in time, as it was flaring upwards, then when the first one exploded, and it led to the 2nd one, that exploded. But this time, the heat went all the way up, and the fresh matchstick on top of the paper. Yeah, you can see that the matchstick was just flaring up and began. You see the matchstick on top, right? You see the matchstick on the paper too. That's the 5th matchstick I was talking about, by the way. Well, that ignited the whole one. And you might have noticed that those things, they kind of look like nuclear blasts. Like this is the first one. But actually, it wasn't really a nuclear explosion at all. The first matchstick, as you can see over here, it actually exploded like this, straight up. But what made it a nuclear explosion? But since the matchsticks try and explode to their up, but fire always goes upwards. So the first matchstick, when it came in contact with the fire and it exploded, boom! You can see the 2nd matchstick tried to explode downwards, but the first matchstick actually went... No, the 2nd matchstick tried to explode downwards, but the fire went down, out, and up. Kind of like making this tree or mushroom or nuclear bomb. Well, that led to that strange looking mushroom thing, because the lower one and upper one exploded. The lower one you saw in my photo, it was just a little bit. But then, one little bit later, boom! The upper one couldn't explode downwards because fire always goes outwards. So it came down and up, and that made that nuclear blast mushroom thingy. And you saw that when I put the thing on top, what came of it? The 2nd matchstick flared up really bad. and it made its own nuclear explosion, but this is much worse. As you can see up there, this blast was so bad that the what do you call it? The paper right underneath the match began to glow red hot and almost tumbled. It's quite near, and I'll show you what happened next. Well, this explosion for some reason was really, really, really bad, and you can see it started making this dark spot like melted paper, and that actually ripped and weakened this paper, and that went and made it fall down. But actually, the match on top didn't really play a role actually in falling down. That was just on top, but it resulted to something else. By the way, this dark spot wasn't just it. It turned out there were other what do you call it? Other holes in this paper too. Just one or two, but they made smoke coming through really bad, and that kind of like wind. And then the first matchstick came on. If you go back to the time lapse, you'll notice that the matchstick didn't really flare up until it fell down. But if that matchstick hadn't been there, I tell you, it would have been just a small spark. Trust me, just a small fire, easy to set out. But this matchstick, what it did was, while it was falling down, it went boom, explode when it had come into contact. As soon as it came into contact, it went boom, and all the paper surrounding it started catching fire. And this is how my experiment, the burning house, ended. It kind of was a success. I mean, it really is a burning house. See you next time.